Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great time today and you're full of energy to kickstart the final day of the Finance Magnates Pacific Summit. My name is Despina, and I'm honored to be your host today. For our first panel discussion of the day, we'll explore the intricacies of the APAC markets, focusing on partnerships, culture, and retention strategies. Please join me in welcoming Fraser Nelson, Global Head of Business Development at Scope Markets, who will moderate this session and introduce you to your esteemed panelists. Fraser, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Despina. Good morning, everybody. I hope we're having well. Before we start, I'd like to say thank you very much to, obviously, all the attendees, the organizers, for bringing us to Sydney. I think between all of us, I think we can say what a beautiful city it is, but it'd be nice if you did it in summer next time, please. We have a fantastic panel today. We're going to be covering everything from the retail market, institutional, we have tech providers, so I think it's going to be quite interesting. Our aim is to have about 5 or 10 minutes at the end for Q&A, so please bear with us. But without further ado, let me turn over to my panel for them to introduce ourselves. Firdaus, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Fraser. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so first of all, my name is Firdaus. I'm the Global Business Analyst and Partnership Manager for TradingPRO. I've been in this industry since 2008, so this would be like more than 10 years now. And I've been experiencing lots of my career in the banking, especially, and also in a brokerage. And for your information, this is my ex-boss. Yeah, so I've been in Fullerton for about 4.5 years last time. So I learned a lot from this guy, and I'm glad to be on the same stage as Mario today. And that's all about me. I don't want to waste any time, so I'll pass the...
Thank you. Joy?
Hi everyone, my name is Joy. I'm from Godai, based in Shanghai, China. And yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. This is actually my first panel of my life, so if I got nervous, then it's normal. So please,
don't worry, we'll be we'll be gentle, Joy. Don't worry.
Thank you, thank you. And I've been with Godai for about 6+ years. So been in the industry starting as a forex trader. So love being in the industry, like love seeing the price going up and down, feel the excitement, and now I'm actually on the tech side. So what I say, like just the best part of my life, I think. Like it's just something I love about. It's something I've been working with. And talking to the people that's actually the experts in the industry. Like I really appreciate this opportunity and hope this session will be fun. Right? Thank you.
Perfect. Mario?
Thanks. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mario. I'm a founder and chairman of Fullerton Markets. So we are a multi-asset brokerage firm. I had a dream of starting such a company about 8 years ago. I've been a trader and educator for about 15 years now. I'm based in Singapore, married, 2 wonderful kids. I enjoy writing, published 4 books, and we run a local charity in Singapore. It's called Soul Rich Foundation. Absolutely pleased to be here with everyone and to learn from my fellow panelists as well. Sam.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sam Grecner. I'm representing TradingView. I've been in the industry for over 10 years, coming back to the industry after a long break. Most of you have probably heard of TradingView as a charting platform and social network for traders. We have about over 60 million users globally, 200 million people coming to the website every year, which makes us to be the #1 website when it comes to anything investing around the world. But we don't only work with B2C clients, we also work with B2B on licensing our technology, licensing our products, data integration. We also work with affiliates and advertising. So I really like to think of TradingView as the most comprehensive and holistic finance platform around the world.
Stephen?
Thanks, Fraser. Good morning, everyone. My name's Stephen Williams, so here representing Capital.com. We're an emerging CFD broker. We've been in Australia since 2021. We've got over 8 offices globally. We're really, I guess, looking to have a very well-supported, transparent, competitive offering, but also looking to grow our premium and high net worth space. So Really looking forward to do that. I've been at Capital now 2 months, but I've been in the industry now for 16 years in markets and finance. So as they've said, looking forward to hearing everyone from the panel. And I hope we have a good discussion.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys. So as we said, today's session is going to be on understanding the APAC market. It's going to be mainly around how growth works, retaining your client base, and going forward. There's obviously a very wide variety of us here. For myself, obviously, I'm with Scope Prime. I've been in the market over 15 years, growing offices globally and the institutional side. For me, and my opinion, and one of the reasons I'm so happy to host this panel is I believe that all brokers are global, but you need to have a local touch to be successful. From my point, there's 3 main key areas we want to cover today. How to retain clients, what assets fare best, and more importantly, how the industry is evolving over time. One of the things for me is obviously about the local touch. I think, 5 of us on the stage are foreigners, so maybe I'll ask Stephen to elaborate that on a little bit more and why obviously someone like Capital.com is expanding in Australia.
Yeah, great. Happy to kick off, Fraser. Look, I think at the end of the day, with any partners, with any business, I think the first and foremost is about relationships, and I think being authentic. One thing I've noticed in the industry, but particularly in broking space, is I think there's always a tendency that we're seen as digital, faceless. There's not really people behind our products. So I think for myself, particularly being a premium client manager, having that, representing the business and actually seeing and meeting and talking to clients, and obviously active traders, they really want that understanding of who they're dealing with. And I think first and foremost, that's the really key part of it. So I think obviously relationships, but just I think at the end of the day is being genuine about your product, honesty, integrity, all of those key traits I think is really important to build that foundation, and then obviously you can go from there.
Fantastic. And obviously we're talking about presence and in the APAC region, and I don't think anybody else puts their face out there quite as much as Mario does and so well as he does. So maybe you can expand on that and why you believe that placing a face in front of a brand is important for the APAC region.
Yeah, I think you cannot discount the face time and the engagement with people, especially in the APAC region, primarily because there are just so many different ethnicities in Asia. It's not like the US, as an example, where all 330 million people speak English, right? In Southeast Asia itself, you got like 10 different nations, all speaking different languages, all having different currencies. So number one, you cannot overstate the importance of communication because that builds trust. At a deeper level, it kind of unlocks people's attitudes, beliefs, and worldviews that you need to gently engage. So that's one, communication. Number two, customization. In terms of products and services, different people want different things. Not everybody likes steak and eggs in the morning. Some people like cereal. So customization. Number three, I'll go so far as to say collaboration. For even us as a broker, many people, when I say they want different things, they want to learn how to monetize different aspects of the business. So I think that's where brokers like us or providers, we can help to give them such things. So 3 points in that first one: communication, collaboration, customization, bro.
I would 100% agree with that. And obviously, we have quite an existing brand moving into Australia, an existing APAC, and now we have a rising one. So Firdaus, how do you see yourself as an emerging broker? What do you see as the key points in, as Mario said, putting your face across, showing that trust and integrity? How do you view that, and how do you communicate it with your clients?
Yes, of course. Like Mario said, having a physical presence, putting your face in front of the clients is very much important compared to the product itself. Because if you realize, most of the time clients are buying the products, not because of the products, but because the trust that we put into the client's face, right? So same like as TradingPRO now, we are expanding into a global presence. Now we are expanding more into different regions. That's why we are not only focusing on the digital marketing. If we want to do that, we can do that, right? But we would like to put a physical presence into the market so that people will come to us, talk to us, feel, not just to feel our products, but to feel our presence in the market.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's one of my tenements over the last 10 years, whether it was when I was at markets.com, Hot Forex, Do Prime, and now Scope, is I believe the local presence is key. If you're a man on a telephone, you have nothing. If anyone looks at my LinkedIn and sees how much I post as well, you'll always see I'm in different countries, meeting partners, I go to the events, I speak on stage, even with most of them not understanding what I'm saying, because I'm Scottish. But it works quite well, because suddenly there's a face to a brand, people trust you a little bit more, and also you can make the communications across with them. In terms of technology, Sam, obviously TradingView's growing. Myself, I've known them for like the last 10 years, tried to integrate a few times, but are you seeing a lot of growth in the APAC region or just worldwide with the product?
Well, TradingView is one of those products that has a global presence, and I think it will continue to have the global presence. Something that might be very specific to the region and then Asian region is that traders in that region really demand high quality technology solutions, and there is, I'm trying to be humble, but there's probably no other platform that you can think of that is anywhere close to what TradingView can offer to traders, and I think that they once they get their hands on TradingView, they don't want to go anywhere else.
Would you see yourself as a trading platform, or do you see yourself as a trading community with a platform?
That's a great question. I think you can't really split these two. There is the element of that social element, the network effect was really important historically. And I think that, trading can be a very lonely activity. So if you can actually be in a platform where you can find your fellow friends, fellow traders, you get inspiration. And this is what I think it's very, very much the edge for TradingView. You basically set up your own office. You create your environment that you love. You go there every day, and a lot of traders spend a lot of time on charts. So if you can actually get connected with the fellow traders, that will be very important. So I think that that growth and demand for high quality tech solutions will continue in Asia.
I think so, and I think that partnerships goes across, and I think, obviously, Sam, you're going to have something to say on that.
Yeah,
Stephen,
sorry, Fraser. I was just going to say, I think just touching on a few of the points that they've made, I think just as a broad comment on this sort of subject, I think it's really important to understand and know where your business is at. And I think this is something I have noticed in this conference or the summit here, is I think everyone is at a different level. Businesses are at sort of different phases of their growth, their journey, how established they are. So I think it's really important to understand fundamentally where you are at or where your business is at. And I think from there, working out and branching out with the right partners at the right time makes it very important. And I think that's what we've noticed at Capital is obviously with TradingView, the certain technology partners is really what we know where we're at, we know where we want to go, but I think having that right synergy and the right connection with the right partners is really important as well.
Of course, I think it's the same as, personally, I think it's the same as your internal team. You all have to be rowing in the same direction, have the same ambition. And Joy, in terms of obviously yourself, very much like Sam, you're a provision person. I mean, with your products, how do you find the APAC region in terms of the demand for the products, but also any difference in regulatory requirements compared to Europe or anything like that?
Yeah, I will probably summarize some of the things that previously mentioned before, because I kind of have like a lot of agreement with Sam mentioned about traders sometimes are quite alone. They needed technology to bring them together. I myself being a trader before, I know how it feels like when the price goes up and down, you put the buy order and sell order, sometimes you win some money, but you don't really know whether you're doing this actually right or wrong. Even you make the money out of it. And I think what TradingView is doing is great. And also, I think as a technology provider, that's what we're trying to create. The purpose of us, of the existence of us, is actually try to create a better trading environment for the traders. That's who we're actually serving. And touch base a little bit about the culture. I think Singh is actually a great presence of, just look at people who sit in there. It's a good combination of people with all different, cultural backgrounds. And I think it's a beautiful thing because sometimes we'll all say when we mention something about culture, it's always culture differences. We're always emphasize on things that are different. So when we enter into a different market, we're saying oh, we need to do something locally, in a different way. But actually, when we actually talk to a lot of people around here, and what we find is it's actually not that different, to be honest. People do with things also Mario mentioned about the integrity. mentioned about the integrity and some of the characters, that's what people would buy for. It's not different from different cultures. It's actually the same characters what we're looking
Yeah, I think what we've all been saying really is it's not just words, you have to show it with your actions as well.
Exactly.
I think one thing we can all probably agree on is about the regulatory standpoint as well. You know, it is a lot tighter in Australia, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, it actually helps the client and it helps the broker. Yes, we all want to be able to give more, do more, but also I think from a personal perspective, I think most of us here on the stage have traded ourselves. I'm not going to put words in Sam's mouth as well, but we've all done stuff, we've all traded, so we all kind of understand the psychology of traders. In terms of assets, you know, myself, I'm a commodities broker in the beginning. I think most of us have traded. Where do you see the key pressure points for Asia at the moment and the APAC region in terms of the demand for a product, but also the assets that are being traded? Maybe Joe, you can start with that one as the tech provider.
Yeah, sure. So from us, we're definitely seeing like the market is shifting and more not just brokers, but also funds are looking for more customized products. It is not just I want like standard FX, I want standard CFDs or stocks. Sometimes it's more complicated that might not even exist in the current kind of situation. Like that's what we've been requested quite a lot from the technology side, technology provider side. So we found like actually a lot of people is asking for a customized service. So standard single solution is not it is not an easy solution anymore. And also for the asset wise, like crypto is definitely the thing that a lot of money is flowing into. So we sort of cannot really, you know, avoid the topic of that.
I think so. And like Sam, for yourself, for example, obviously you have a very growing platform, and obviously I see how many unique views you have and stuff like that. Are you seeing traders using your platform because they're broker agnostic, or the product itself is attracting them?
I think we are coming to the stage of traders actually creating their own environment that they like, and will be, I think, maybe slowly but surely leaving the environment within which brokers dictate how the environment is created for the traders. And what I mean by that is that once you are on TradingView, and because we are a multi-asset platform, it's very simple to move from one broker to another, because you just have that environment that you like. And if you think from traders' psychology perspective or traders' profile, it's not unique to see that someone will start, for example, in crypto, which is, you know, high volatility, high risk, and then they delve into it and they realize that, hold on, but maybe if I just swap and change the broker, I can all of a sudden start trading shares, and then I can start trading crypto. So I think that we are approaching that age where traders will actually have a multi-asset portfolios. They will have exposure to different investment vehicles, whether it's a crypto, ETFs, shares, Forex, just because platforms like us will make it very simple, and they can just utilize the skills that they've been practicing on across multiple different asset classes.
Okay, that's fantastic. And Mario, you said obviously being a multi-asset broker, are you finding this is isolated to certain pockets in the APAC region, or is it a whole change to that?
Yeah, I'll share maybe a little bit from the macro view and then a little bit of insights on the granular aspect of it. I think on the macro view, most people today are very interested in gold and crypto. And for reasons we all know, we don't need to go into that. But if you look into different markets, because we are more in Asia, and Asia, when it's a whole melting pot of different cultures, I'll give you an aspect of this. Japan, everyone is trading the yen, right? And most of you know there's a huge deleveraging now. The whole last month, the yen has been strengthening. So that's one, the Mrs. Watanabe carry-yen trade. So in Japan, it's a lot about Forex, specifically on the yen. When it comes to Asia, Asia is a bit more diversified. If you look at countries like Thailand and Vietnam, these two countries specifically a lot on gold. Thailand, gold and Forex. If you look at Cambodia, funnily enough, is almost exclusively the indices. So if you look at the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow Jones, they are trading more of the US indices. If you look at a bit more mature markets like, say, Singapore and Australia as an example, it's more stocks. But that also, it is a bit more what's the word to use? A bit more time-based. It's only when there's earnings seasons, you start seeing the flow over there. So generally, I want everyone to understand there's a macro view. There is a lot of crypto and gold. But when you come down to the granular, when it comes down to the segmentation of the countries, it's really important to understand the local culture, Fraser, as you mentioned.
Thank you. And for yourself, obviously, as a rising broker, are you seeing a lot more demand where you're having to add products and be customizing for clients, or are you feeling like your offer is already ready for the market and that's why you're growing and bringing in the clients?
Yeah, that's a great question, by the way. So we have our existing products, yes, right, but when we go out and see more people from the different regions, especially in the APAC, in Southeast Asia, mostly they are traded on gold and Forex. So we have that already in our platform. But when we go outside of the Southeast Asia, there will be some different requirement or demands from the clients. Like for example, we have been seeing that they're asking for synthetic instruments, right? And some of the other people, they are asking for commodities, soft commodities, and also some indices.
The synthetics, I agree with. It's something that I've seen a large demand in the last 2 years. We've done multiple gold combinations to local currencies. And again, you're giving them the underlying asset, but you just give them that extra volatility, which is what clients are looking for.
Yep.
In terms of yourself, Stephen, obviously the Australian market is a very mature investing market, from superannuations to the mining, stocks to ETFs. But CFDs is still reasonably an immature market, and obviously the local regulators come in and put clampdowns on that. You mentioned high net worth individuals. How do you balance that with their demands as well?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think just as a general comment, the evolution in Australia, typically we went from a very, everyone just wanted to trade physical shares. That was very popular. That was always seen as the kind of gateway into investing / trading. But I think that's where there has been a bit of a paradigm shift. It's gone from investing, and I think people now understand there is a distinction to trading. And I think that evolution's been has happened a little bit quicker than everyone in the Australian industry expected. So there is now actual appetite, and it is a very competitive marketplace here in Australia. But I think one thing I have noticed as well is there's been a very tendency, particularly for active and premium clients, where there is a home bias, if you want to call it that, where I think we do see a lot of flow initially on AUD, USD, Oz 200, Oz equities. But then, as I think Mario touched on, and also Sam, we then see people branch out. We see people go into things they may not have traditionally done. And I think where we see active clients is where they get familiar and they get passionate about a market or something to follow. And I think that is, again, the distinction where I see a lot of professional and active traders is when they start to follow stocks. So obviously you had the meme stock craze there for a while. We've had a lot of pockets of volatility in Australia and globally, but once clients start to follow a market or follow something, that's when they do tend to branch out. And just to finish, just to touch on that point, I think as well, in Australia, we've seen traditionally a lot of, for us as a broker, and I appreciate a lot of the emerging brokers as well, a lot of our initial clientele has been a lot of retail clients, but I think over the last few years, probably courtesy of the volatility we've had with global development, global impacts, is a lot of clients have become more sophisticated with trading because of the TradingView, because of the resources. So on that front, there has actually been a bit of a development on that front, and that's what's led into, we're seeing a lot more professional traders who are, going wholesale and having trading experience, and then from that point, that advances their trading with greater leverage and other resources as well.
I couldn't agree more, Sam.
And maybe just a short comment, just what you were saying about clients becoming more sophisticated, I couldn't agree more. And even if you have a look on TradingView as a platform from that social network point of view, there is an ability for traders to post trade ideas. And if you look back how the trade ideas evolved over time, they are getting a lot more sophisticated to what they used to be. Like, it's not unique to see an average retail investor posting a quite comprehensive research and a chart. And from the chart, anyone who is on a platform can learn from and get better. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more on investors in general getting more sophisticated.
Okay, so
in some areas.
Just to follow up on where we're going there then, because we've all said very interesting facts from, why clients come, why they're doing, but mainly for the brokers on the stage. So are you seeing clients coming to trade derivatives or because they want to, or are you seeing clients diversify into the CFDs and the derivatives because they've now realized, of the leverage, the more accessibility, lower margin requirements and stuff? Maybe you can start with that for this.
Yeah, from what I see, from what we see, the trend has becoming like, they have been in the Forex, for example. Now they are moving to gold, and some others, they are moving into crypto, for example, and so some of the CFD stocks and indices, right? So the reason why they are going into these derivative instruments is because there have been like more exposure about these instruments, especially when the social media is up now. More traders appear on the TikTok, for example, right? And more, especially the TradingView playing very important parts, because I know lots of traders coming from the TradingView because I was one of the moderators for TradingView last time. So,
well done.
So it was quite interesting to see more people diversifying their portfolios. Even some of them from the CFD stocks to Forex, for example. Yeah, so we have been seeing this more often, not just because they are want to diversify, but also the exposure that we have been seeing on the social media and some other platforms that been like talking about different kind of instruments, because we are all now connected through to the internet. So
of course, I think so. More people have access to more information. Mario, would you like to elaborate on anything there?
I think where I agree with the panelists is that over time, I think clients and partners are obviously getting a bit more discerning. So they kind of know what they want. But if we go slightly deeper into the segmentation of the market, and I'll keep it simple in terms of two segmentations, the retail and the high net worth. The retail market, technically, they want two things. They want innovation and distribution. Yeah, so especially the young, the influencers, as we talk about, they want all the fanfare and all that kind of stuff, right? So the innovation, because it kind of keeps them up to date with the trend so that they can then distribute that kind of innovation to their markets. The high net worth, on the other hand, they want slightly different things. High net worth wants two things. They want competence and care. And what I mean by competence, you've got to really operate with a high level of professionalism. I mean, think about it, right? The high net worth are not clowns. They are people that really know what they want. They are already operating with professionals around them. So that's one, competence. And number two, I'll use the word care. Because even in Singapore, I'll tell you, we are failing in this, Like some of the high net worth in the banks, right? When they open an account, the bankers are losing the game because they don't understand simple things like service. So for high net worth, for those of us who are servicing high net worth, okay, it's important to really get professionalism, high level of competence, and care, service-oriented, so that they really understand that, hey, you're there for me, you understand me, you know my needs. Then they would open up not just their wallets, but their networks around them.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's something, as I said, showing that local presence, my face, that's always helped me. Stephen, how about yourself?
Yeah, I do agree with Mario, and I think what we need to understand as well is a high net worth active trader had to start somewhere as well. So trading, I think accessibility is a really important thing, and I think building a brand, a platform, an app, having, developing that so that there is accessibility to get more people into trading. I think I speak for most of us. We want to get more people into trading. It's that will help all of us, and I think we want to try and get trading to being mainstream, because I think obviously people understand investing, and that's always traditionally been, well, that's what we do. But I think trading used correctly and with risk management, all the rest of it, can provide a very important part of someone's financial growth. But I think as kind of Mario touched on, that distinction, I think that's where you have to strike a right balance as a platform, because platforms and a lot of brokers want to attract retail clients. They want to fill a lot of people in the funnel to come through. But I think having the sophisticated and advancing your offering so that people can go on that journey, and when they do become sophisticated, when they do become active, premium, high net worth traders, that you can cater to that as well. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a discernible shift. It just needs, you have to have the right products, the right resources, and the offering, and supported by real people who, as Mario said, professionals that can support them on that journey.
I would maybe just touch on that and build on that, because I really couldn't agree more. Going back to my history in Forex trading, there is something to say about building the relationship, which we touched on early on. We've seen a lot of, and especially now with Gen Z and younger generation willing to invest and experience that volatility. if brokers are, having people like Stephen who are able to hold their hands, so to speak, and take them on the journey. Because most traders would start, with high volatility and high risk because they are in the early stage of their sort of maturity. But then they go through wealth accumulation phase where they're sort of realizing that, okay, I actually need to be a bit more sophisticated. And if they have someone to talk to and who can, build a relationship over the years, I've seen it over and over again when someone started on a small account. Over years, they grew up their account, become sophisticated not only in terms of how they do trading, but also in terms of asset classes. And then those sophisticated investors and high net worth individuals then grow the client book too. So, and that, comes back to building the relationship, having the high degree of integrity, which is really important, and helping traders along the way.
I think so. I think, from what we're discussing here, we're obviously going through partnerships, how we establish them, how we retain them, the culture of the places. But we're always referring to traders here. I think, obviously, there's a different side of the business that we all work on as well, whether we're a tech provider or an institution as partners. So, Joy, how do you find working with partners? Because, obviously, we're discussing here reinforcing our vision to our clients, building that trust, providing them with the services they need. How do you work with your partners, i.e. the brokers, to instill that trust?
Yeah, I think one of the important things is we probably just touched it before, meet people in person. So I just want to share a small episode. I actually meet my colleagues here for the first time, even though we've been working for 1.5 years. And we actually came into this expo and asked him about. He asked me a question about, do you know anyone here? So I actually asked back, to define know people. I probably read an article about someone and I checked his LinkedIn, but but if you actually walk in front of me, I probably wouldn't recognize that's the person I talked to, maybe emailed yesterday. So I think building the personal relationship, actually meet people in person is the first thing. It's the really important one. And I think the chemistry that build out when people meet in person is really different from when you see people in a video or when you actually just talk in a meeting. You probably just talk about your product, talk about the business, talk about the solutions only. But sometimes the more thing is the relationship is actually built upon talking about a lot of things other than that, sharing the same.
I'd agree. A lot of things come up in just general conversations when
Exactly.
you're not even trying to do business, and then it leads to things. To kind of elaborate on a few things, with us at Scope, we're obviously multi-asset. We offer cash equities, where we're seeing a lot more growth in the South African market, and then diversifying into the CFDs. And this is one of our kind of strong points. We've obviously got about 8 minutes left, and we'll see if we've got Q&A, so we'll try and wrap up in a moment. But the last point I'd like to touch on is going into 2025 and beyond, because obviously none of us work on a 12-month cycle. We're all looking 24 and further. Where do you see the alpha going forward in the next 18 months? And from your perspective, what are you going to do? Firdaus, you go first, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So for the alpha, they have been really sophisticated generation, basically. They are more open to more information. They are more open to more instruments coming into the platform. So what we are seeing as a multi-asset brokerage as well, and emerging brokers in the APAC, we are listening to people, trying to add more instruments into our platform so that we can cater and accommodate what they need and what they want in the platform. So that is why we are putting our presence in much more locations in the entire world, so that we can understand the local language, the local demands for in the future, right? For example, and we are seeing more demands. So like I mentioned just now, synthetic, which I never heard about it for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But recently there have been a lot of demand, especially in the African region.
Yeah.
They have been requesting for the synthetic and more soft commodities, for example.
Okay, fantastic. Joy?
I'll probably summarize it into two different aspects. So first, young generation is definitely the main people that we want to drag them into this industry and make it more lively. And also thinking about so that's why crypto is still the thing that I think it's most important. I would say that's where the most attention has been drawn to. And for younger generations, I think when they first actually come into the idea of investment, like I think probably Mario touched a bit about targeting the retail business, like it's that like, and also like previously mentioned about like they're interested in those with investments with higher
Volatility.
Volatility, yes, thank you.
Yeah, people are more willing to gamble these days. I think.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, when they actually invest, like, for younger generations, I think there's one more factor that should be taken into consideration, is that they buy things not just because they want to make profit out of it. Sometimes they need to believe that it's cool. That's where they want to put their money into.
It's more of a cultural thing than it is necessarily
Exactly.
a self-belief these
days. And also,
days.
they can show off. Like, that's where they get the confidence into, like, that's what they think it's worth of it. I mean, not saying that's the right thing to do in the long run, that's...
But, you know, elaborating on that, I don't think there is a right or wrong thing. It has to be the right thing for you. And Mario, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll summarize it in this way. I think our entire industry is still exciting. If you were to key in the words today for yourself, just key in the words online trading, the number of searches that you see is more than the searches of money or more than the searches of Ferrari, which are two terms that everybody in the room actually understands. So from a macro level, opportunities are there. But in the entire ecosystem of clients and partners, providers, vendors, even regulators and mediators, the ecosystem needs to really work together. I think that's important. Because as a stage, right, there's audience everywhere. We've got to keep the social compact there. It's important. The last point is this, is that from a business perspective, I subscribe to this term, right? There are those of us who like the start and go. The start and go is basically, oh, let's go expand to different markets. Let's go conquer the world. There's a place for that. There are those of us who belong to the start and go. And then there's the rest of us who belong to the stay and grow. So Fraser, when you ask me, you know, like where are the opportunities, where's the alpha, they're both there. You want to start and go to new markets, then go. You want to stay and grow, then stay and grow. You can move from retail, you can move all the way down to a deeper market. You can service corporates, institutions, the high net worth. The opportunities are abundant. Pick your place and make your mark over there.
I think I agree on that. You know, it's not about always growing to new markets. Sometimes it's growing your existing business with more services and provision. And on that, Sam, like yourself as a platform and a community provider, let's say, do you see your alpha as additional products, or do you see your alpha as just offering a deeper service or maybe something else?
I think there are two themes that I'd like to mention beforehand. One is machine learning, and the other one is AI. I think we'll see more and more use of machine learning, which will then deliver more customized, more personalized experience for users. And then those users who will get that experience will quickly realize that they are getting something that they can't get anywhere else. So that's one. With the AI, I think more and more people will start using and creating like a trading assistant bots. Whether or not they will follow the advice, that's up to them. But I think that the use of AI in general will be quite dominant theme across multiple financial companies globally. But then what we see as a company and platform that actually enables a lot of companies to export their services from local markets elsewhere. We've seen it in Australia and across different regions. I think that something that I like to call regulatory arbitrage, or just licensing arbitrage, trying to get into new markets and then attract those users will be a key theme for a lot of companies. But then it comes down to understanding your audience, really. Speaking and spending more time with your clients, understanding what is important for them, not for the sake of innovation, but for the sake of giving them what they need based on where they are in the journey.
I think you're right with that. It's that customization. And Stephen, obviously, with the Australian market and you being the main Australian man on the stage here with us, maybe you can elaborate on how you're building out for what your alpha is with your growth.
Well, I think in a way we're actually quite fortunate with the next 12 months, what we're likely to see. We've got upcoming US election. They're talking about potentially an Australian election next March. Obviously, there's geopolitical risks. There's central bank policy shifting. So what you're seeing is that over the next 12, 18 months, the alpha's there for clients. There will be volatility. There will actually be a lot of things moving and obviously playing out. So I think what's probably most important is that as we go through this next phase is actually having a trusted broker, and obviously for us at Capital being an execution broker, I think it's about having that reliability, having that trust that, as we're entering into this phase, you can rely on what you're doing, and obviously, with your trades and with how you're going to position yourself with all of these likely volatility events playing out the next 12 months, you give yourself that opportunity. And I think that's really important. And I think that's what traders want, and particularly what premium clients want, is they want that trust, knowing, well, I know that there's going to be expected volatility. We've only had to see what's happened in the last few US elections, and obviously policy shifts and things that play out and how quickly things pivot. Having that opportunity and just being ready for that is going to be really important.
I think that's it. I think from a personal perspective, with being a prime broker as well as the retail side of it, for us, that's exactly the same. It's preparing. From a personal perspective, as someone who trades, I think 2024 late, early 2025 is most definitely going to be the year of the trader. We can only see it with the last 2 months in the gold movement and the volatility that's been there. And I think picking that right broker, picking that right partner is the key way to go. We have about 6 seconds left, but I think we'll see if we can get one question before Despina starts cutting my throat.
Yeah, it's very interesting listening to what you say. I'm pretty new onto the whole scene, but what I'm hearing is, and I am from a brand background and stakeholder engagement background, but what I'm hearing is it's a lot of talk about the computer and it's a lot of talk about the programs, which is fabulous. But if you're trying to get out there and reach an audience, it's got to be about making that connection with actual people. And I think that's the thing that you can't forget, because people are making decisions to spend the money. And also, you're not talking just to young people, you're not talking just to old people. You're talking to people who have different needs and are at different stages in their life. So if they're not interested in what age they are, they're interested in your product, and also they're interested in how they can access that easily, how they can use it. Above all else, everyone's happy to go on a roller coaster when they know they're locked in and they've got that belt on them and they're with a good company. But nobody wants to go on a roller coaster and they think they're going to fall out. So trust is also really important. So I think making products human, making them accessible to regular people, and making them trustworthy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that. I think, there is a lot of emphasis. We're discussing AI and stuff, which is the next generation, but I think one thing we do fail to remember is there is an over 50s and over 55 population who are looking to diversify and trade. The Australian market is different. Some of it is APAC, and we're discussing the products. Maybe, Stephen, you can pick up from an Australian perspective with the demographics as well.
Yeah, no, and look, I'm probably going to give a biased answer to that, because that's my passion. Is I physically go out, see clients, sit down with them one-on-one. We go through things. I never assume. First thing I do when I see a client is I let them talk. Tell me about what your trading is. Where are you on your journey with trading, or what do you know, what you don't know? Find out questions, understand. Never assume. And I think, again, as I think I touched on at the start, I think this industry as a whole, we can't assume people that are a certain level. We need to, embrace what they're looking to do. Find out, are they interested in one product, many products, whatever it is. And I think you said putting the human first. And I think, again, being biased, that's why I enjoy my particular role, because, again, you have the opportunity to sit down one-on-one, go through that, and work out what is the best way to move forward together, and really treat clients as partners, we're in this together. We have a relationship. It's in our interest you do well, because then you'll stay for the long term.
I think so, and I think it also, to elaborate on that, it brings the retention. I met a client here on Monday. I went to his farm in the south down by Exeter. He's been a client of mine for 11 years and come to 4 different brokers with me. And the conversation wasn't about what did he want to trade or anything else. His conversation was literally, how much flow would you like from me, and I'll just cut it to you. Now that's a lovely conversation to have, but then you have the next conversation with a partner that's new, and the conversation is more, what AI can you give me and what? And I think that's the key, going out there, speaking to people and putting a face on it. Emails, Zoom, you only get so much of it. And I think, Mario, that's something you elaborated on for different markets needing different things. Do you rely on the market themselves to tell you, or what kind of things do you do to find that?
I think it is both, but I'll end with one story. I have clients from different parts of the world. I have a particular client in Vietnam. And in Vietnam, the kind of cities that we always hear is always Ho Chi Minh in the south, Hanoi in the north, and then Da Nang somewhere in the center. I had this client, his name is Henry, that came out of nowhere. You know, we really connected, and he said, Mario, can you come and visit my province? And his province is in a province called Kente, which none of you probably have heard of this province. I went all the way there, and he took me and said, bro, let's go to this Chai Rang floating market. And it was beautiful, man. The whole Chai Rang floating market, you're sitting on that sampan, you're eating the noodles off the boats that's giving you there. And that is really when trust is established. When they really understand that, hey, you're here to embrace my culture, then business starts. I think wherever we are in the world, really formulating that trust, I think it's just so important.
Okay, fantastic. Guys, I'm getting the death stare, so like literally 10 seconds left, otherwise I'm gonna be slapped when I get off, please.
I just wanted to touch on that from a B2B perspective, that if you're involved in B2B complex sales, it's never about one person. There is a buying committee involved. And that means that you need to have that the champion who will go inside the company and actually vouch for you. And the only way to win that champion is to have that personal connection and relationship.
Fantastic. Joy, anything to elaborate?
Yeah, I think just embrace the culture. Like, you have to be broad, like, you have to be acceptable to different things. Like, just enjoy the life.
100%. Firdaus, would you agree, or anything else?
Yes, totally agree. What we have been discussing is all about culture, relationships, retention of your relationship with the clients. It's all important compared to the products. Products is just product. Everybody has a product, right? It is really the matters of trust that we put in the client's heart. That's the matter.
100%. Guys, thank you very much for spending the last 45 minutes listening to us to talk. We're all going to be present around the expo, so if you want to have any other further conversations, please come and chat to us, but have a lovely rest of your day.